Sagittarius, I'm kind of feeling like the energy I was picking up for you. I've actually tried to record this reading a few times, and I've had sort of a struggle expressing myself. And so I'm going to try my best to get through this message, but it's very likely that some of you are going to be resonating with what I'm describing. I saw this image of a horse that was in a field, and it was trying to move forward. And each time it took these steps forward, it started to kick back. And it was almost like it was spooked by something that I couldn't see or something that wasn't there. And what's really interesting to me is that the horse is one of your symbols. And horses often do symbolize freedom, strength, forward-moving momentum. And it felt like there was this self-doubt or getting in your own way, kind of pulling back your own energy. And maybe there are old stories, old belief systems. You're repeating cycles from chapters of your life that you're no longer in. You're in a different space now. You're not in confinement. You're not in a stable. You're in an open field. And for some of you, this might even feel a little bit overwhelming because there's so many different directions you could go in and you don't even know what to do with it right now. And I almost got the sense too, it could almost feel like time itself is a limiting factor. I don't have enough time in the day. How do I figure out what is the best and most efficient use of my energy right now? And so some of you are almost stuck in your head in this way. And I was definitely getting in that sort of frustrated energy myself. So I'm really curious to see what the tarot cards have to say, what advice they have to give you for moving forward and figuring out how to kind of navigate this energy. I did actually pull a couple of animal cards, but before we get into all of that, I just want to thank all of you who support this channel with your likes, shares, comments, and subscribes. If you haven't done so already and you've been following around for some time, now is an excellent time to hit that subscribe and bell notification, as I am looking to rebrand, and that way you can always stay up to date with what's in the cards for you and follow along with these messages that I'm posting pretty much whenever. These are timeless readings, so you're welcome to watch them whenever they find you. I am also running a sale on my website, so if you're ready for that deep dive, you can get 15% off all of my services using the code Jupiter at checkout, and that's going to be good until June 24th. You can find links for my website and all of my other social media accounts in the description of this video, and pretty much any questions you might have, it's probably in the description already, so feel free to check that out. I am really excited to kind of get into this reading because the animal cards I got were actually the dragonfly. And what's funny is I actually did think of dragonfly while I was shuffling the deck for you, thinking of that like back and forth movement. And this really does feel like that energy to me, that darting around. And when I think of dragonflies, I think of them being kind of between the elements of air and water. They have a strong connection to air with the alchemical symbol at the top of this card, but they are often found by bodies of water. And so what this tells me is that there is something very significant about the relationship between your thoughts and your emotions. When you're feeling dysregulated, your own thoughts become scattered. There's ripples on the surface. You might not be seeing things clearly, and that could be adding to sort of the confusion, okay? And what's interesting is that the other animal card that I got for you is the dolphin. And I was also thinking of this card. Honestly, the two cards I was thinking of with what I was getting earlier is what came through. Even though I saw the horse, it felt like with the dolphin, there's this echolocation. You're trying to feel out which direction to go in. And because of kind of humans, sometimes dolphins' navigation systems gets mixed up. They're picking up other signals. They're picking up ships. They're picking up sonar. And that can disrupt their sort of intuitive or extrasensory perception. And so even though you are very intuitive, it feels like right now you are doubting yourself. And what's interesting is that I know with the dolphin card from this deck, it often talks about a figure who is very much a healer or even a light worker, which, you know, I kind of have different opinions on that term. But I do feel like you do have a gift. You do have something that you are meant to share, but you are doubting that right now. And it might be a creative gift. It might be a spiritual gift. You whatever this capacity you have, it's like you're doubting your natural abilities. I'm almost getting imposter syndrome here. And it was so interesting, again, seeing this image of this horse, which is all about freedom and forward movement, feeling so stuck. And so I'm very curious, what are you feeling stuck with, Sagittarius? Comment down below if this is making sense for you so far. I am going to do a little bit of shuffling here. I'm very curious to see what tarot cards come for you. And as I'm shuffling here, I just want to give my friendly reminder that these are general readings, meaning not all the messages that come forward are necessarily going to be meant for you. It might even be a good idea to pause this video to take a moment to really check in with yourself so you can best discern what messages you should be taking and how they apply to your own life and what should be left behind for somebody else. These are also timeless readings, so you're welcome to select these videos as you feel called, and you're really welcome to use any of your zodiacal placements, your sun, moon, or rising, or even chart ruler. Those could be videos that resonate with you as well. And ultimately, I really just encourage you to listen to your own intuition, regardless of zodiacal placement. What are the messages that we have for Sagittarius? Interesting. We have the Page of Swords and the King of Cups. This is coming out in the past energy. And when I think of the Page of Swords, this is someone who's in an exploratory phase, someone who's learning a lot and almost learning as they go. And with the King of Cups, it feels like you've been learning a lot about yourself, figuring out your likes, your dislikes, what resonates with you, what your gifts are. I almost get the sense that you have this, like, you've been in this energy of being very open, or that is the advice for you. As you're kind of moving through your day, just observing what is resonating with you. What are you connecting with emotionally? Some of you might also be working with a therapist, a mentor, a coach, or guide. I can sometimes see that with the King of Cups because there is almost a level of like emotional mastery or awareness with this card. And I feel like you're in this process of learning how to better communicate your emotions and your boundaries. So that's kind of interesting. It feels like you've been in this learning curve, and yet right now, or you've been in this sort of stuck energy that I was picking up at the beginning. Tell me a little more. Page of Cups. You're learning to listen to your intuition and listen to your heart. Or that's the advice here. And I was kind of getting that from the beginning. Like, you might be feeling like you need to go in a direction that doesn't make sense to other people. And maybe even need to quiet other people's voices right now and really listen to your own internal voice. It's almost like other people's voices are in your head. It's not even about other people. Two of Wands. Yeah, I mean, this is literally like what I was saying. You're trying to figure out where to go next, what to do next. You're trying to make a plan here. Maybe some of you are trying to make a decision right now about your life, about relationships. I'm almost getting this message for those of you who are in relationships. I am actually seeing the Seven of Swords at the bottom of the deck. I want to be really careful with how I'm sharing this because I don't think for all of you this is necessarily someone gaslighting you. It actually feels very well-intentioned. So this could be friends or family or even like a loved one, a partner, who is trying to look out for your best interests and give you advice. But there's something about this advice that isn't resonating. It almost feels like it doesn't connect with you. Very, very interesting. And maybe that's where these boundaries are coming into play. Because I feel like you've been learning how to have boundaries. That is a skill you are building right now. I'm also hearing invisible walls, which again kind of reminds me of the image at the very beginning where this horse is trying to move forward and it's like blocked by something that isn't visible. And maybe it's almost like you're trying to manage other people's emotions for them or manage their boundaries for them. And that could very well come from childhood trauma or previous relationship cycles. It almost feels codependent, to be honest. Interesting. Two of Swords as kind of the change or catalyst. And sometimes this is quite literally depicted as closing your eyes, really listening very deeply, almost listening and reading between the lines. I'm hearing for some of you, the more you're trying to solve something or make something happen quickly, the more stuck you're getting. And by taking that moment to pause, take that breath, you can start to see things clearly. I definitely feel like meditation or a mindfulness practice would be very helpful for you right now, something that helps you become more present, because with this dragonfly energy, there are ripples on the surface. The energy is scattered. It's hard to see clearly. And this doesn't need to be a super intense thing. It could even just be taking a couple of minutes each day to just focus on your breath, to notice the thoughts that are in your mind without necessarily investing in them, or your emotions. And even as I'm getting these messages for you, I'm feeling something settle in my body. And so really tuning in, working somatically. Where can you find the stillness? And you find the thing you're looking for when you stop looking so hard. That's when you get that clarity, that guidance, that direction. Interesting. I did get the Ten of Pentacles. Let me get to that in a moment. That feels like a separate energy. Maybe not. Nine of Pentacles here. This is about you finding stability. And what that really means for you. What's really interesting about the art on these cards is that I'm often drawn to, in this depiction of the Ten of Pentacles, you only see 9 at first. And you have to look really closely to see that the 10th pentacle is in the center here of this innermost pentacle. And to me, that speaks to the fact that stability or abundance, which is very often what the Ten of Pentacles represents, comes from within. That there has to be that foundation. Because otherwise, it's never enough. And I think that's why we have these billionaires destroying the planet right now, because there's this void. It's never enough. They need more. There's more hoarding. And so I do feel like for some of you, even gratitude could be something that is kind of a perspective shift as well. I'm just going to say too, if there has been some financial concern or instability, I get the sense you are figuring something out. You're moving into more stable directions, or a more stable direction, I should say. And there's many different ways that this abundance can come in and take form. And this isn't always about finances either. With the Nine of Pentacles, I do also feel like there is something about you taking some time or space for yourself. And again, this doesn't need to be anything super dramatic. You don't need to live in a cabin in the woods. But it does feel like giving yourself those moments in the day or in the week. It's helping you find stability. And remembering the bigger picture is also something I'm kind of getting here. What are your goals? What are your aims? Because I almost got the sense of like moving aimlessly at the beginning. And even though horse is one of your symbols, you're also represented as the archer. Taking aim. Going in that direction. Firing your arrow. Firing your shot. It's also interesting that I'm looking down at the clock and it is 2:34, 2:34. There is something that is building. There is a sequence here, and it's important to remember, what am I trying to build? Any other messages here? Anything, any clarity? The Six of Wands. A sense of victory, of triumph. Transformation with the butterfly here. Becoming what you were meant to be. And sometimes that means losing or shedding an old version of yourself. And I feel like what this is really about, Sagittarius, is like you acted out a role, or you were performing a role that you thought other people needed from you. And it kind of feels like for a lot of you, this is how you've been living your life. Or this is at least a pattern you've had in the past. And now you're kind of coming into your own. Or that is the advice for you. Instead of trying to be what other people tell you you should be or want you to be, or need you to be, what do you need yourself to be? Because I do feel this transformation. It's funny too, because I feel like for some of you, this is only going to apply to some of you, you've built a life that's very stable. And from the outside perspective, it's very, I'm understanding, from the outside perspective, for some of you, your life looks really good. You might have the stable job, the home, maybe even the family, the relationship, whatever it is. But I'm looking at these two cards, and I was just talking about how the Ten of Pentacles has that 10th innermost pentacle. And with these two cards together, it's like you have the image of the Ten of Pentacles, but something is missing. And it almost makes it feel like what you've achieved in the past or in your life doesn't count. And I don't think that's necessarily true. But it feels like there is something that is missing here. You're becoming something more. Or becoming more of yourself. Very, very interesting. I'm curious what is going on in relationships for you. Are there any messages regarding love or relationships? And keep in mind that this could be talking about any kind of relationship. It doesn't have to be romantic. We have the Ace of Pentacles. Interesting. Some of you could be committing to a relationship, going to the next level, the next phase. That is interesting with the energy I've been picking up. So I want to clarify. Why is the Ace of Pentacles here? Ace of Pentacles and Empress. So if you are single or looking for a relationship, I feel like this is a message of being very selective, very discerning. You want relationships that are going to go the distance. You're going to build something with this person, or you have kind of the same direction, the same goals. You're looking very long-term here. And it has to be practical. That doesn't mean that it isn't romantic or loving or nurturing. And in fact, with the Empress, it feels very abundant in these things as well. I'm also hearing letting yourself receive love and support from other people right now is important. That might be hard for you. Some of you could be starting a new project or business with a Libra or Taurus, or maybe an earth sign. And it doesn't have to be any of these signs, but that could be double confirmation if it is with somebody. It feels like you're creating solid new beginnings, not just for yourself, but in your relationships as well. Maybe that's the missing piece. Is that the missing piece? I don't think so. I don't know. Seven of Wands. Yeah, I feel like there are people who have opinions about your life right now. Maybe about your relationships. Some people might be triggered or defensive or even jealous. Why is the Seven of Wands here? Why is the Seven of Wands here? There's a new cycle beginning with the Wheel of Fortune and the Nine of Wands. And it might feel like in relationships you're never going to get there, or that you've just been in this uphill battle. Something is changing. There's a turning point here. There might actually be something that is worth fighting for. So if it feels like your relationships are struggling right now, interestingly, I'm actually getting a message of perseverance. And maybe that's part of this back and forth. It's like, to be honest, some of you might be getting a little squirrely. Or feeling like, I don't know if I should be in this relationship anymore. Like you're getting triggered. And I think it's actually really important to kind of break down what is triggering you, and obviously use your discernment with this message. If you're not in a great relationship, then it doesn't apply to you. But it just feels like there is a challenging cycle in a relationship that's generally very loving and stable and long-term. And you're kind of working out some sort of change, some sort of shift. And at the time of this reading, Uranus, the kind of wild card of the planets, the great awakener, the catalyst, is actually going to be entering into your opposite sign, Gemini, in the month of July. And it's going to be there for several years. It will be retrograding back into Taurus briefly in the autumn. But this is also a timeless message, and there's a good chance that when you're watching this, Uranus is entering into Gemini. It's about to, or it is there. And that could be bringing up a lot of changes, very sudden and unexpected developments, especially with the Wheel of Fortune. I feel like your luck is about to change when it comes to relationships. So if you are in an unsatisfying cycle in relationships, I actually feel like there's something really beautiful and stable coming in that kind of seems out of the blue or when you least expect it. And I almost even get this message for you, Sagittarius, where it's like you're not feeling established enough in your own life. And because of that, it's like you don't feel like you're worthy of love or support. And that's something to watch out for. Ace of Cups, yeah, let the love in. Let the love in. And this applies to lots of different situations. Because again, you could be single, and there could be someone stepping into your life and you don't feel ready or worthy on some level, whether that's subconscious or conscious. For others of you in a relationship, it feels like you're walled off. You're having a hard time letting yourself be supported or be loved. And I feel like there's someone very genuine here who wants to support you, who even wants to fight for you. Any other blessings or messages for Sagittarius at this time? High Priestess. Yeah, you really need to figure out what is your intuition versus what is fear or wishful thinking. Cultivating that inner voice, that clarity. And to me, I always felt like intuition is kind of a quiet knowing. It's very rare that it comes through as a very strong feeling, because to me that's almost like a chemical reaction in the body. And I'm looking down, 244 is the time, which is the number of the priestess, the second arcana. Something is multiplying. Your intuition is multiplying right now. And increasing at an exponential rate. And that might be actually a little confusing, because you could be picking up on other people's energies. It's almost like you're hearing other people's thoughts. I did say that at the beginning. It's like other people's voices are in your head. And the star. Yeah, following that guidance, following that intuition. When you learn to listen to what your intuition is telling you, it will not lead you astray. There is new beginning, there is healing, there is renewal, there is a sense of purpose here. So quieting your mind and listening to your intuition feels like a really significant message for this group. You're not as stuck as you think you are either. Sometimes when the High Priestess comes in, things aren't what they seem. And yeah, the Three of Cups, there might just be a lot of chatter with these birds. Finding your own voice and sharing it, because you have something that is actually meant to be shared. You are a very powerful energy. And I feel like you receive things spiritually that you are meant to share, whether that's creatively, through readings, through healing, through whatever it is that you do. It really doesn't matter. There's so many ways to transfer energy to people. You can even do that through cooking or doing tasks for them. There's always an energetic exchange that goes on. And you're doubting yourself. Some of you don't feel ready for the next chapter that's about to come, and let me tell you, you are, and you deserve this. You've worked really hard for the success that's coming in. There is prosperity, and you deserve this. So don't let that saboteur convince you otherwise. Anyways, Sagittarius, those are all the messages I have for you at this time. If you've made it all the way to the end here, give that horse emoji. Let us know you've made it through. Again, I am running a sale on my website. You can get 15% off all of my services using the code Jupiter at checkout. Maybe we can figure out together what direction you're supposed to go in if you're still struggling here. And you're more than welcome to check out the other videos on this channel as well. Maybe for your sun, moon, or rising sign, there could be some messages there for you too. And I will see you all in the next video, Sagittarius. I'm sending lots of love and blessings your way. Take care.